All right. All right. This is a speaker meeting. We ask that you relate to the feelings being shared so that you can better identify with our stories. We ask that you turn off your cell phones or place them on silent as to not disturb this meeting. Thanks. Tonight, our speaker is Mike B.
My name's Mike, and I'm an addict. And, I'm nervous, man. I know a lot of people in this room, man, and a lot of people I respect in here, and a lot of people I've followed, and a lot of people have groomed me to be the man I'm striving to be today. I want to thank Alan for asking me to come out, and if I suck, talk to Alan after the meeting, not me. His fucking fault. And I was telling Derek at the meeting on Thursday, I said, man, I'm nervous. And he said, you're fucked up just enough that it'll be entertaining at least. So I'm here, man. I've been coming to this convention for a long time. My sobriety date is June 23rd of 2015, but I've been coming to this convention for probably 20 years. You know, I had a hard time staying sober, you know. But I seem to make it here every year somehow, you know, for various reasons. But so this has a special place in my heart, man, you know. I'm going to share in a general way what it was like, what happened, and what it's like today. I'm going to do my best to be honest, not to embellish my story and sound bigger, better, and badder than I really was. Crack tore my ass up. Tore my ass up. And I love the effect produced by that shit. I did, you know. So I was raised in LA, single mom. I'm half black, I'm half white. Everybody think I'm Mexican. The shit was fucked up from day one. You know. He still called me Pedro and shit, you know. You know, my mom raised me. My mom was a little white lady. She looked like a librarian. She literally taught third grade school. She had 2 big hearing aids. She had big Coke bottle glasses. And I used to be embarrassed by the way she looked. You know, she did a hell of a job raising me. I mean, she didn't raise me to be speaking at no Cocaine Anonymous meeting, turn out to be no crackhead. She put me in a position to be successful, man. She did everything possible as a single parent. I realize that today, but I didn't realize that back then. All the sacrifices this lady made to put this little boy in a position to be a man successful in this world. She did everything possible, man. I'm talking about youth sports. I'm talking about church. I'm talking about Cub Scouts. I'm talking about going to different countries in the summertime. Like, you know, I didn't appreciate none of that shit, you know. And my dad was a summertime dad at best. He was an attorney. He lived in Louisiana. He drove a Porsche, had a big brick cell phone before anybody had a cell phone, you know, and everybody loved him. He could talk a lot of shit and real charismatic, and I wanted to be like my dad, you know. But I always felt like my dad never really loved me. I would go out there during the summer times, but I would spend more time with my grandma or a lady that my dad was with than I actually did with my father. You know, I remember getting off the plane one time. You could fly by yourself back then when you was a kid. The stewardess take care of you, and they walk you to, you know, go meet whoever's there to pick you up. And I'm going to meet my dad at the airport, and shit, he has some other cat pick me up. I'm here for Mouton, you know. And I just remember feeling like, damn, you know, that's how much I matter. You know, I was always really uncomfortable inside in my own skin. The half black, the half white part, it had me fucked up. I mean, I'm listening to Run DMC and Motley Crue. Like, I don't know which one of them motherfuckers. I don't know if I like either one, to be honest. My first concert was Motley Crue at the Santa Monica Convention Center. I was 14 years old. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing in there. But I'm trying to smoke weed like these dudes. I'm a perpetrator, man. I want to be part of, man, but I don't know how to do it, and I'm uncomfortable inside, so I'm going to act like you act. I'm going to talk like you talk. I'm going to dress like you dress. I'm going to do everything I can so you guys would see me a certain way. I did that shit my whole life, man. Anything I could do to fit in somewhere, man, because I felt so uneasy. And on the outside, people didn't know I felt so uneasy. On the outside, it probably seemed like I could get a girlfriend. I was decent in sports. I talked pretty well. Like I could kind of do that. I was like a duck, man, on water. Like you look real smooth on top of the water. You put an underwater camera, and that motherfucker doing like that. That's how I felt. That's how I felt, man. I felt like everybody had this thing called life down. They were cool. They knew how to dance. They knew how to talk to girls. They knew how to do all this stuff, man. And I'm faking the funk the whole way. And it's the reason I drank in the first place, man. I was 13, 14 years old, an underground tunnel across from my school that I was going to, and I went to John Burroughs Junior High in L.A., and these cats had a 40 ounce and some weed, man, and that was my first drink, and that shit was nasty, I think I backwashed in the bottle just trying to act like they, I acquired a taste for that shit later on, but the first one wasn't the one, it wasn't, but I loved weed from the start. I loved weed and I loved the effect of weed, and weed became my thing for a long time, I was a little kid hustling nickel sacks at school and smoking weed in the corner and ditching. I started getting into a lot of trouble and started getting kicked out of schools, started being real bit disobedient to my mom, and I didn't see none of that. I just saw that I was enjoying my life. I ain't harming nobody. Leave me, you do you, I'll do me, we good. My grades started going down, and at about 17 years old, I had an incident when I was 15 years old. I told you I'm a perpetrator, and there was some real hustlers like in the neighborhood I was living in, and they was like some real hustlers and kind of gang banging a little bit, and shit, that shit was cool for me, So I'm trying to pull on their coattail and be part of that group, and they kind of let me in a little bit, man. I swear to God, the first day I walked out the house, Larry, I had on my little colors, I had on some white K-Swiss, I had a pager on my hip on the outside. It didn't have no service. But then I made sure everybody seen it, and if you called it, man, it wasn't beeping, I'll tell you that much. And I was walking down the street, and some people rode by, and they started shooting, and I got shot in my face with a .22. It's something I don't talk about a lot, I don't know why, but it was a big incident in my life. I thought I was going to die, I didn't have no reference for being shot in the face other than, it's lights out, I was in intensive care for a couple of weeks, and I remember it was like my first kind of, I wasn't no dope fiend at that point, but it was a dope fiend prayer. God, please let me live and I'll do right. I honestly thought it was God punishing me. My grandma was real Christian and Catholic, old school, and if you did wrong or thought wrong, like, shit, God gonna get your ass. That's the way she taught it to me, and she believed it, and I believed it too. And I thought that was God punishing me for going off on this track a little bit, And I remember I made a deal, hey man, just let me live, and I promise I'll do right. And for me at that point, doing right was simply like going to school, stop smoking weed, stop partying, stop trying to be this dude you ain't. And man, when I got out of intensive care, they used to call me trap jaw because my jaw was wired shut for about 6 weeks. I was talking through my teeth. I'm smoking blunts through straws right out of the hospital, man. I couldn't eat nothing solid, you know what I mean? And I went right back doing what I was doing. And I almost did it with a badge of honor now because now I done been shot. Shit, now I'm back on the block, you know what I mean? And I'm scary. I'll talk a lot and I'll go with you, but I'm going to be way in the back. You know what I mean? I don't want no trouble. I'm scared to fight, all that, man. I just got a mouthpiece on me that'll talk me into some shit, but it'll talk me out some shit too. And at about 16, 17 years old, my mom got tired of what I was doing, and she gave me a choice to, when I turned 18, I could go to the military or I could go live with my dad in Louisiana. And that was an easy choice for me, man. I went to live with my dad in Louisiana. I wasn't about to go to no military, and she sent me off to Louisiana, man, and my dad picked me up from the airport this time, and literally at the airport, he gave me keys to a drop-top Mustang. I go to his house, I'm living in his house, I'm smoking weed behind the garage and drinking, and he pulls me in the house one day, he says, hey, man, if you're going to do that shit, you do that shit in the house. I'm like, God damn. I'm like, man, this is the life. You know, I'm a California kid. I'm in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I got a drop-top Mustang. And girls is like, ooh, you from Los Angeles? Now all of a sudden I'm like, yeah, cuz, I'm gangbanging. I'm all kind of shit, right? You can be whoever you want when you're out of state, you know. I'm raising up, I got my stance, and you know, I'm a fucking knucklehead, man. I'm driving around. I finished my high school year at Southern University's college campus. They had a high school on the campus. I'm driving around this school, you know, with a fucked up sound system, bumping sound. I'm that dude. Thinking I'm doing big things, smoking blunts, selling dub sacks on campus, like just an idiot, man. I see me today and I'm just like, damn. I thought I was cool as hell, man. You know, I was scared of cocaine, terrified of it. I saw what it did to people in the neighborhood. I was a big basketball fan, man. I'm 55 years old, man. In my day, there was two guys who died, Hank Gathers and Lynn Bias. And the story I heard was they did a line of cocaine and dropped dead. I ain't messing with cocaine. I had a motto. I did acid and mushrooms. I drank like a fish, and I smoked a lot of weed, but I wasn't messing with cocaine. And I started hanging with some cats that was smoking Primos and snorting cocaine. And they'd be in a circle, and they just pass it right by me. It didn't even fade me. I had no interest in that shit. You know, and one day I came home from school, man, and I was living with my dad, and on the dresser in my bedroom that I was staying, there was a fucking brick. And I ain't never seen that much cocaine since. It was all duct tape. I sure wish I had, but I didn't, you know, shit. It was all duct taped, and the corner was chipped off and opened up, and shit. I chipped off some from the corner, and I threw it in the dresser drawer, and I went and knocked on my dad's door. I said, hey, man, I'm home. And he ran in there, and he went and got his package, and we didn't talk about that shit till about 2 years ago, man, when I was in Louisiana. And this is in 1989. And a couple days later, it was Mardi Gras. And I brought that cocaine with me. And I was drunk. I was drunk on the way. It's an hour drive to Mardi Gras, so you got to get drunk going to Mardi Gras. I mean, shit, you know, and I'm drunk, you know. And I thought it was a good idea to do a line and shit. I did a line, man, and I fell in love with that shit. I mean, that wasn't no bad weekend. I ain't going to sit up here in front. I mean, I had some bad, I wasn't picking out no windows. I wasn't picking up shit from the floor. They wasn't coming, none of that shit, right? I could drink like a fish, and everything I did that night seemed to turn out good, you know, and I was sprung and didn't know it. You know, I started stealing dope from my dad, and, you know, I took all this pride in growing up and saying my dad was a lawyer, and one day I was speaking when I was telling that story, and I realized that motherfucker ain't never tried no case. He ain't had no clients. Like, he had a degree to practice law, and he carried a briefcase, and he had an office. But he was selling dope. You know, and he ended up going to the federal penitentiary for 18 years while I was living in Louisiana, you know. But from that day on, man, I started to, you know, I was snorting cocaine, man, every chance I got, smoking Primos, every chance I got. That became the main important thing in my life. And I'm a guy who, I try to hold it all together, man. I try to show up for the homies and my girl and my family. I try to give you just enough so you see I'm okay, but really I just want to go do it alone. I ain't no social cocaine. I don't know about passing no spoon, golden spoon. I be here standing. Nah, man, if we gonna do it, we gonna do it, but I'm trying to get to go do my own thing, man. I like dark motel rooms, man. I pay by the hour because I ain't gonna be there all night. I end up spending $300 on a $60 room because it's $20 a time by the hour. I'm only gonna be here one more hour. The one lady said, why don't you just pay for the night? Because I ain't gonna be here all night. I end up there 4 days, you know, and I love the effect produced by cocaine. You know, I met a woman in Louisiana, man. She got pregnant. I'm 20 years old. And by this time, man, I'm in bad shape, but I don't know it. You know, I'm Mike B, man. I'm trying to represent this dude from California still, and I'm trying to hold on to all this little stuff, man. It's hard work, man, when you're trying to be in two places, but you really want to just go get loaded. But you can't really get loaded the way you want to get loaded because you got to do this a little bit and keep a half a job, a half a watch, a half a car, God damn, man, And this woman got pregnant, man, and I was excited. I'm going to be a father, and I got something to look forward to that's going to give me some meaning and purpose. And I knew what not to do because of the relationship I had with my father. And I swore that I wasn't going to be that dude. Because I know what a little kid feels like not to feel loved by a father, And sure enough, man, when Deontay was born, man, I was smoking. I stole birthday money, money out of his mama's purse. I used to say we had a 2-income household, but she was working both fucking jobs, Bless her heart, man, for real. I didn't want to be that dude. I didn't want to be that dude, man. I got a little dude, my seed, who I love to death. And I just couldn't pull nothing off, man. I'm a taker, man. And I did that for a long time, man. And she was from Louisiana. When I used to share, I used to say we moved from Louisiana to California. She left my ass in Louisiana. And she moved to California and moved in with my mom and the kids. And I stayed in Baton Rouge, man. My dad was in prison. My son was gone. And I just went on a rough one. I kind of smoked till the wheels fell off. And I owed a bunch of people money and couldn't get no more credit. It wasn't no more, smoking mirrors about I'm okay, you know what I mean? At this point, man, wasn't nobody fucking with me. And I ended up chasing her basically back to California, man. I literally just knocked on the door in Santa Monica one day, man. She was doing good. Then here my ass come. Daddy's home. I mean, pretty much, that's kind of what it was, man. She had a house in Santa Monica. She had a nursery school in the back. And I honestly thought that if I left Baton Rouge, I would do right. My intention wasn't to come here and fuck her life off, too. My intention was, hey, obviously I can't do right in Baton Rouge, so I'm going to come to California and get a fresh start and do what I'm supposed to do, man. Be a father, man, and be respectful and be a son to my mom and be the young man that my mom raised me to be. Man, I got here, man, and I was going to say within weeks, within days. Shit, I was smoking in that nursery. I couldn't wait for the little fucking kids to leave, man. And I get stuck, man. I plan to go back there and just take a hit. And you know how that shit go, shit. Another hit, and you can't never get the right one, then people come in and all that shit go on, and peeping out windows, and I know about smoking any white speck from the floor. One time I was in the peephole so long, I swear to God, I walked by the mirror, man, I had a ring around my motherfucking eye. My head said, if you move, they coming. So I couldn't move, man. I couldn't move, I ran through her life, man, and I remember my son one time, I would get stuck in the bathroom too, water running for hours, you come out funky and shit. Like, how'd that work? But I'd be stuck, and I remember one time, man, I came out the bathroom, man, and my son, he was maybe 5, 6 years old, and he was laying in the doorway, and he was disgusted. And he said, Daddy, you always tell me tomorrow. Because I'd always be, tomorrow, D, I promise we'll do it tomorrow. I wanted to show up, man. I really did, man. I just couldn't, man. I didn't even know, man, how I was really living, And she got tired of that, man. And in 1998, she made a decision that she was going to move back to Louisiana. And in 1998, I'm real secretive, man. I had a weed hustle where I'd be saying I'm going out of state, and I'd be on the hotels on Washington and La Brea over there and shit with the porno. Like, I'm doing that shit for days. And then I come back with a story on how they jacked me in Arkansas and didn't give me the money and this and that. And so I'm real secretive, man. And people knew something was off, but they really didn't know what I was doing. Like, really. Because I could keep a little hustle where I kept a little money enough to just make it, but I wasn't contributing shit to the house. I always had a story, And in '98, when she told me she was leaving, man, I broke down and I told her, I said, hey, I'm doing cocaine and, I don't know what to do, And I said, but don't tell my mama. And the next day, my mom was over there and... This was the only thing I had that gave me any value or purpose was this little boy. And that was about to be gone. And I was going to do whatever I could possibly do, man, not to let that happen. I was trying to be a father, but when you lay there at night by yourself, no matter how much faking and funking you do and how much you present yourself to the world and other places, when you in there by yourself, you ain't shit. And so I ended up going to a rehab that my mom paid for. It was a 28-day program in 1998, and it was my first introduction to any of this shit. I don't have no family members that are sober. I never heard of no Alcoholics Anonymous, Cocaine Anonymous, recovery, none of that. I go to this program, man, and I do what the people tell me to do. You don't know what you don't know. You don't. H&I came, man, and there were some people on the panel, and there was some motherfuckers like Ron and them, they got 30 years, and them motherfuckers, they didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Like, there was a dude, I don't even think he was supposed to be on the panel. His name was David. He had 54 days. Like, he ain't even supposed to be on H&I, right? But he was on the panel, and David's fingers were still burnt, right? And I knew that David got down the way I got down. I knew it for a fact, that David got down the way I got down. And David hadn't smoked or took a hit in 54 days. And I couldn't believe it. That shit was unbelievable because I knew he was like me. 54 days? I was like, damn. And it gave me a little hope, And at the end of that program, man, they recommended that I go to their sober living. And I knew that my family needed me. I mean, I ain't took a hit in 28 days. Y'all laughing, but shit, if you smoke like I smoke, you ain't took a hit in 28 days? I don't know I'm in a protected environment, but y'all done gave me some information now. Get a big book, get a sponsor, go to meetings. Like, I retain information well. I'm dumb in a lot of areas, but that shit, I got it. I got the formula, and I convinced my mom and my son's mom to send me back home. I said, they trying to get more of your money, and my family needs me. This is the same family I've been stealing from, right? But now, all of a sudden, they need me, And I go back to my family, man, and I tried my best to, do what y'all told me to do. I started going to some meetings, man, and I didn't know this whole thing was, based on developing a relationship with a higher power that could keep you sober. I went to the meetings, and on the way to a Sunday meeting, it was a CA meeting on a La Cienega Olympic. And I was walking there from my mom's house, and that shit hit me. Boom. There was cocaine and a girl. The deadly combo, and I started to debate with myself. I found out when you start doing that shit, you lost. Oh, you could just do one. You got $800 now. You could just smoke a couple hundred and be okay. But no, they say if you take one, you're gonna be on one. Go to the meetings. And then I finally said, all right, God, I'm gonna go to the meeting, and if you want me to not take one, I'm gonna hear something at the meeting. I meant that shit, and man, I went to the meeting, man, I might have heard the best speaker I ever heard in my life. In that break, I was out of that motherfucker, man. I had no idea what I was up against. I had no idea what I was really up against, man. I was up against something, man, that I didn't have a choice. I didn't. When that shit called me, man, I will convince myself that it's a good idea. I suffer from the obsession in the big book Alcoholics Anonymous that says I can control and enjoy, or I will beat the game. That's the obsession I suffer from. It don't tell me if you take a hit, man, you're going to sell everything that you got, including your shoes. It don't tell me that. It tell me I'm going to be home by 11 because I got some shit to do tomorrow. I'm going to smoke this much, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to get back. And man, I chased that thing for years, man. So after that first relapse out of that rehab in 1998, man, there was a period between 1998 and 2015 when I finally got sober that I couldn't fucking stay sober. I have 10 years and some days of sobriety today, and I never had a year prior to that. I had 17 years of going in and out of the program of Cocaine Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous, rehabs, sober livings, homeless shelters, county jail. It's fucked up being in jail when you meet it. I got all the essays hitting me up and shit. I don't know shit about none of that shit, you know. It wasn't good, man, you know. I'm in the dorm with all the brothers, and then the way they booked me as an essay. So when I go to court, I'm handcuffed to all the essays. I was like, man, I thought they was gonna kill my ass, man. But hey, the dorm rep, I knew him from Alcoholics Anonymous. I would believe the lie, man, and I would create windows of opportunity for myself. I'm talking about hours of windows of opportunity so I could pull off getting high successfully. I used meetings as excuses. And I would tell whoever I was with, I'm going to go to the meeting, and me and JT going for coffee after the meeting because he needs to talk. Now I got 4 hours that my head said I could go take a hit and get to the place I want to get to and go back to my life. I did that shit over and over and over and over again. Something happens to me that don't happen to normal people, man. And when I put that shit in me, I absolutely cannot stop. It don't matter what I got going on. It don't matter how much money, how little money, how many obligations I got, how many responsibilities, who's counting on me, what I got to do in the morning. It don't matter. Something happens to me, man, and I have the inability to stop, man. But I don't know it. I got hundreds of experiences that show me, but I still can't see it. I can't see it, you know, and I went to 16 rehabs. I'm talking about live-in facilities. You know, 8 of them want to hire me and shit because I do good in the rehab. They got me rehab manager and, you know, they want to hire me for house manager after the rehab. And I'm not in there bullshitting. I'm not. For the most part, I go there because I don't want to be who I had become. You know, and I keep coming in and out of meetings, man. I'm consistently a newcomer, man. I'm that dude, man. I'm in the meetings like this. Anybody knew? I knew the meeting so well, I used to time going to the bathroom when they asked for newcomers, man, because I was so fucking embarrassed. After a while, man, I'm talking about 17 years of that shit. 17 years of that shit, man. Being humiliated around here, man. People asking you, what you gonna do different this time? You done yet? Oh, you still got to watch. You ain't ready. Man, I used to have answers for him, though. Shit, I'm going to go to 7 meetings, and Larry going to go through the big book. Ronald White going to hold my money. Me and Anthony going to do push-ups on Tuesday. I'm going to eat vegetables and shit. I'm going to read page 86 to 88, Karma sponsor. I mean, I had a bunch of plans, man, and I executed a lot of that shit. I even went to Pacific Group, man. They say, go to Pacific Group. You need more help. You need more help than normal. So I went to Pacific Group, man. 7 meetings, 7 commitments, man, the whole 9, man. And on a Saturday, man, I went to a morning meeting. I went to this thing called the Yard, where you go to Clancy's house, you play softball, you eat hot dogs and shit, you fellowship. I went to the meeting at John Adams, and I went to what they call a watch, which is you watch somebody turn a year sober the night of their birthday, and you stay there till midnight, and you go to Norm's, and it's full of fellowship and love. And dropped the newcomer off after the meeting. And shit, made her right into the hood in Venice, man. It was on one. I mean, what? Nothing worked. Nothing fucking worked, man. You know, I couldn't understand what the fuck was wrong with me, man. I remember my grandma even asked me, well, boy, what's wrong with you? You know? I couldn't answer that question, man. And I met people in the fellowship, man. They came in and I shook their hand and greeted them, man, with 1 day and 2 days. And they blowing out candles 1 year, 2 year, 5 year, 10 year, 15 years. And I'm still bouncing in and out of this motherfucker, man. You know, and the truth is, man, this is the only place that gave me any sort of relief. And when I was all in, man, I was able to get a day, 2 and 3 and 4, and my life did get better. You know, I just never really could admit to my innermost self, man, what was really going on, man. That if I take one, I'm on one. And the other side of that is if I don't tap into a power greater than myself, I ain't got no choice, but I'm going to take one. I didn't know that. You know, you don't know what you don't know. You know, you know, I met my wife, Elizabeth. You know, I was about 6 months sober probably, and I clean up good, shit. You know, my representative showed up. You know what I mean? Shit, I got her ass. You know, and she had no clue. Neither did I, though. I mean, to keep it real, you know, this was going to be the time, man. And I was living in a sober living, man, and I was doing good. I had about 6 months, and I was on the path, man. And one day, you know, my head said, you could take one and come back to sober living before curfew. Ain't nobody, they stopped drug testing me. The heat was off, you know, like I'm going to work every day. Like, I'm just living life. And that head said, you could take one, man. And you know, there wasn't much of a fight, man. I remember, though, that day when I was driving to go meet the dope man, I was by myself in the car, and I looked over, and I said, man, this ain't a good idea. And that motherfucker said, we're going to be all right, you know. And I took one, man, and I was on one, and I don't know how long I was gone that time. She probably know, but all right, 6 weeks. I was gone 6 weeks on Vernon and Arlington in the motel. They had 3 porno channels and a liquor store across the street. What else you need? And I wish I could tell you I had a spiritual experience and I was like, okay, this is the time and this and that. I didn't have no more money and I couldn't get no more credit. That's when I run back in here to y'all. I mean, that's when I run back in here to y'all, man. And I either end up in a rehab or somebody's couch or a sober living, and then I do that whole thing again, man. And they let me back into sober living, and she let me back in her life, and I continued doing that shit, you know, until 2015, man. You know, she had kids too, man, and I stole money from them. You know, just scandalous. You know, and this time around, man, I got loaded like I always got loaded, man, and I had a little bit of sobriety, man, and my head told me I could take one successfully, and, you know, I was gone for a few days, and I ended up coming back, and she let me in the house this time, and there was a lot of times she wouldn't let me in. If you ever need your locks changed, go fuck with her. She ain't no locksmith, but she is. I remember walking up that long-ass driveway. It ain't that long, but it feel long as shit when you don't know if your key gonna work. And then I hit the metal gate and it opened, and I just said, thank you, God. But then the damn wooden door, and I'm pounding on, you gonna let me in here? I live here. And, you know, sometimes I just needed rest. Other times I probably wanted to go get a fucking laptop or something worth some money that I could, you know, one more. Oh, it was just one more. It was never, I didn't need a kilo or an ounce. Just another dub. I mean, really, it was just, shit. If you like me, you know. Like, just one more. And, you know, this time around, man, she let me back in. I'm 45 years old, man, and I'm in tears. I'm crying because I had did it again. I was so sick of me, man. I was so sick of me. I was so sick of hurting people in my life, man. I didn't know what to do, man. And I told her, I said, hey, when I start, I can't stop. I said, when I start this shit, I can't stop. And she looked at me and she said, well, if you know that, then why you start? A fucking trick question, man. Like, what kind of shit is that? And I talk for a living, man. I'm in sales, man. I got a rebuttal and override for everything, right? But that's a fucking $1 million question, man. You know, and I told her that day, I said, look, like, I know you love me, and you know I love you. And I said, I'm tired of hurting you. And I told her, I said, if you continue to stay in this relationship with me, you need to know that this shit's going to happen again. Every other time I told her why it wasn't going to happen. I made promises that I meant. But this time is the first time I really told the truth, man. And the truth was, man, my experience showed me, I had 17 years, man, of trying with this thing in my life, that it didn't matter what I did, I was getting loaded again. And I didn't know that at the time, but that was the first time in my life that I admitted to my innermost self, what the big book says is the first step of recovery. I admitted to my innermost self, right, that I had this thing y'all was talking about. And what that meant for me was there was nothing I could do about it. And I didn't know that at the time, but what it did is it emptied me out enough of my own plans and ideas and what I thought I needed to do that it allowed God to start moving me in a way that I didn't even know I was doing. And I went back to Alcoholics Anonymous and Cocaine Anonymous, not because I really thought this shit was going to work, but because I ain't had nowhere else to go. And by this time, man, I had 17 years of friendships and relationships of some good people in my life, man, that I was part of. And it probably didn't hurt, but Liz saying, if you want to stay here, you got to go to some fucking meetings, you know. So I came back in the rooms, man. I started going to Never Too Early Big Book Workshop on Sunday mornings, man, and I went to a men's stag at 4808 Crenshaw at Back to Basics. And those two things, I consider them my meat and potatoes, man. I did every week religiously, and I did other meetings in between, but those two for sure. And I started staying sober a day at a time, man, and it was almost without effort. Every other time, man, I was holding on for dear life, man. This time, man, it just came easy to me, man. And I was sitting on the porch, man, at Liz's house in the morning one day, and I had about 4 months sober, man, and I realized I wasn't thinking about crack cocaine the way I used to think about it. And that shit amazed me. And at that very point, I knew there was a God. I couldn't get that shit up off me, man. I couldn't get it off me. Liz found a preacher one time at a church, man, who was a healer. This is a black church, man, with the big hats, and we way out on the east side on Main and something, man, and this dude, man, he healing people up front. They falling out and they doing speaking in tongues and all that shit. And I'm sitting way in the back, and if you've been to black, it's long, man. We back there about 2 hours, man, and finally I say, baby, we need to go. This is cool, thank you. I think I got what I need, but we need to go. And the preacher's up there, man, he over here talking to Alan and them over there, and me and Liz get up over there, and that dude say, young man. I act like he wasn't talking to me, right? I tried to keep walking, and young man, come here. And he called me up to the front of the church, man. That dude grabbed my hand. He ran me around the church 3 times. And then he brought me up front, man. This dude was pulling spirits out of me, right, for real. And they speaking in tongues. They surrounded me, and then he blew. He said, he blew on me, man. And the shit knocked me back a little bit. And part of me, I'm like, I'm really trying to be open to this experience. But the other part of me is like, damn, you look crazy as a motherfucker up here, man. But something happened to me that day. Something did happen to me that day. I had definitely an emotional experience. And I thought it was the experience that I had been missing, man. I had been to all these meetings for all these years, and everybody kept saying something's got to happen, and it's got to happen between you and God. So I figured this was it, man. And we driving home from there, and I think both of us were pretty ecstatic that something would happen that day that was going to lead me on a new path. And I tell you what, man, about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, man, that thought came again. Cocaine. And I think I told Liz, I'm going to go to a meeting and double up my efforts. That's the window of opportunity that I create. And I knew what I was doing, man. And I was off and running again, man, and I got sober this time, man, and I just came back to the meetings, man. I started going to Never Too Early Big Book Workshop. And I tell you what, in that workshop, man, they went through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous in a way that I had never heard it before. Because it was people that spoke my language. They did what I did. And they presented it in the book and related their experiences with it, and it allowed me to relate my experience with the big book Alcoholics Anonymous. I no longer had to share what I read in the book intellectually or some cool shit I heard Larry Betts or Reggie White say from the podium. I could share my own experience with the big book Alcoholics Anonymous. And I found myself in there, man. I was just like Bill. I was, And something happened, man. I went through the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous in the workshop and with the sponsor. I had the same sponsor I had for 5 years previous to that. I remember that time when I came home that last time, Liz said, well, call your sponsor. I'm like, that motherfucker been sponsoring me 5 years. Shit, what the fuck he gonna do? If he's the answer, shit don't make no sense. And I think I even acted like I called him that day, Ron. I was like, he's still my sponsor today, man. He married me and Liz. Talk about somebody who knows the story. He knows the story, and I was able to make amends in sobriety. Liz and you guys helped me reestablish a relationship with my grandparents. My grandparents on my mother's side, I thought they never liked me because my dad was black and I was black. They from Iowa and they super white, and my perception told me there was a few things that I thought I saw that told me that, they weren't messing with me, and I had a resentment, and I just backed up, man, and, they got old, man, and they were both in a nursing home, man, and Liz and my sponsor and a few people in Alcoholics Anonymous, man, encouraged me to go see them. And I went out to Iowa, man, and I got to go see my grandparents, and they was sharing stories with me when I was a kid. Part of the fourth and fifth step was fancied or real. My grandparents don't love me. Is that fancied or real? It was fancy. They never told me they didn't love me. I lived with that my whole life. And they were ecstatic that I had came to see them. My dad that I was so resentful towards, man, because he never was there like I thought he should be. And it's funny, man, I was doing my fifth step and I realized, I thought my dad didn't love me my whole life. And I realized when I did my fifth step that my dad did to me exactly what I did to my son, but I love my son. No doubt, unquestionable, I love Deontay. And it allowed me to get some freedom with there too, man. And I was in Louisiana one time visiting my son, and I went to go visit my dad like I always do. He had got out of the prison, and he'd been home for a few years, and he dropped me off at the place where we were staying, and I was walking towards the little place where we were staying, and I just looked back. I said, love you, Dad. And I stopped in my tracks, and I realized that I had changed. My dad hadn't changed. I realized I had changed. I loved my dad. Just my dad. It's all good, I share that story about, my dad not picking me up from the airport. One of the times when I was trying to get sober, I had about 4 months of sobriety, man, and I become super dad, and I'm fixing everything. How you first get sober, and you got all this making up to do, and I had bought my son an airplane ticket to come to California, man. He was like 17 years old, man, and I was excited. I'm telling people, and I bought a ticket. I was fucking excited. I had a place in Redondo Beach. I had $6,000 saved up. And I bought him a ticket to come down for Christmas. And on like the 22nd or so, man, my head said, you could take one. Daryl, I got $6,000, man. And I got 3 days. Even if I missed the mark, I'm good. And sure enough, man, I took one, man, and $6,000 later, about 11 days later, my mom had to pick him up from the airport. He had been here about 6-7 days, man, and I was out of money. And I had to show up. Man, I remember, man, I was walking up to my mom's house in the same damn clothes I had on with not a penny in my pocket. And I turned around because I couldn't knock on the door. And I called JT. Out of all the fucking people, JT. And JT gave me the courage to go knock on the door, man, and face my son and my mom. And my son didn't judge me and didn't make me feel stupid. And he bought me lunch at Fox Hills Mall. And before he left, I stole $80 out of his wallet. Yeah, before he left, I stole $80 out of his wallet. You know, he was the best man at our wedding. He calls me dad today. He got a son and a daughter, my grandson and my granddaughter. I could call him tonight and say, D, I'm coming to Louisiana and I'm picking up the little ones for a week. And we're going to bring them back here with us. And it'd be all good. You know, this thing has given me a relationship with my son. I got married in sobriety. It's given me a beautiful wife, man. We got a wife. I mean, we got a life beyond, like they talk about beyond the wildest. And I got some wild fucking dreams. I really did coming in here, you know. Ain't nothing like my life looks like today. But I got a life that's unbelievable, man. We started a business in sobriety. We done bought properties in sobriety. You know, I got a fellowship of friends. I got a sponsor that I'm accountable to. I got sponsees who got sponsees who got a sponsee. How the fuck that happened, man? For real. We went to Africa on our honeymoon. I couldn't get out the motel on Vernon in Arlington. I'm serious. I mean, every year we go somewhere, man. My mom that I was shameful of, I wouldn't have brought my mom around y'all. Y'all were the people I was trying to hide her from because I was scared of the way she looked. I was embarrassed by it. You know, shit, she would give me a cake at Never Too Early when it was live every year. Most beautiful woman I know today. You know, my relationships with my family and friends are like the most important thing I got, man. Like, you know, I try to add value everywhere I go. I try to talk, you know, kindly, honestly, and with kindness and love. And I try to put smiles on people's faces. I try to be helpful, you know. The hardest area probably for me is with my wife and in my job, in communication, you know. There's three things that I try to do when I communicate. Is it honest? Is it loving? And then the hard one, is it necessary? Liz will tell me, I didn't ask you your opinion. So I just need to shut the fuck up sometimes, man. You know, I don't fight cocaine no more. I ain't fought cocaine in a long time. And I ain't gonna sit here and say I don't never think about it or none of that stuff, but it ain't on me the way it was. God removed the obsession for me to drink and use, 100%, 100%. You know, and then the 12 steps have started to give me a way to live, man, that I had no idea about doing, man. Like, I didn't even think this type of life was possible for a guy like me. I might see Ron and Larry and Reggie and these guys living that type of life, and that's good for them. But it wasn't even possible for a guy like me, man. And you guys brought me in, man. You guys loved me. You guys mentored me. There's nothing I haven't gone through that I haven't called somebody in Cocaine or Alcoholics Anonymous that have been through it. I got a sponsor, but he takes me through the 12 steps. My sponsor don't have no kids, so I don't ask him about parental advice. I don't. I don't ask a homeless person how to buy a house. I don't. But when we wanted to buy our first property, I knew some gentlemen who had bought a lot of properties. And I said, shit, how do you do this? When we want to start a business, I knew somebody who started a business. When I'm having marital problems, man, because I'm acting inappropriately and incorrectly, I asked somebody who I consider to be successful marriage that has gone through some challenges. One of them's in here. I ain't going to point him out. Y'all might think he got his shit together. Yeah, man, I'm really grateful to be here. Everything good in my life, every single thing that's good in my life is a direct result of Cocaine Anonymous and the people in it, you know. So if you're here for the first time or for the 101st time, like, please keep coming back. This thing can happen without your permission. Thank you.